Hi everybody. So today starts the a new series of information we're giving out on getting started with training a service dog. So getting started with a new service dog puppy or a new candidate, and all this information is going to be valuable for anybody who's either starting brand new right now or is working with a dog that they've acquired in the last couple of months. So this information is good for kind of anybody who's getting started or still in that beginner phase of training their new service dog. And we are doing this series now for a couple reasons. So one is that we asked our Facebook group a few weeks back what you guys wanted to learn about next. We had just wrapped up information on building focus, and so we asked what you guys wanted to learn about next. And the answer was overwhelmingly more information on getting started. And the timing was perfect because Friday we actually have 3 new puppies that are coming into our program. So we'll be going through all of this stuff all over again. If you guys have been watching, you know, we've been working with Drake for the last couple months. He's still really new, but now we're going to have 3 more new little young puppies coming into the program. So it was a really good timing for us to give out this information on how to get started in the most efficient and the most effective way. So again, I have a few notes with me, and I'm going to look down at those periodically. Next week, we're going to actually get into a bunch of training demos. So next week, I'm going to actually be bringing the puppies out, the new ones that will be here on Friday. So I'm going to actually bring the puppies out, and we'll be doing some training demonstrations for the next few weeks with them. But today, I wanted to hit kind of the top 3 most important things that you should be focusing on with a new service dog. And these are the top 3 things that we're going to spend probably the first month or so working on with our puppies. It was definitely the first month of Drake's training was these 3 things. And I wanted to narrow it down for you guys because I know that service dog training can feel really overwhelming in the beginning because there's all this stuff that the puppies need to learn, and there's so many opinions, and it can be really hard to narrow it down. So what we've done is really pulled back the layers on service dog training. We really found that the foundation comes down to these 3 things. So the first one is socialization. And socialization is one of the most important so that's why it's in the top 3, right? One of the most important things that you can do to get your service dog puppy started off right. So socialization in its most basic form is exposing your dog to new environments and new people and new things. But there's actually a lot more to it than that. So socialization is actually more than just exposing your dog to things. It's about giving them good experiences, first of all. So bad socialization can actually be worse than no socialization at all, because we really want to teach our service dogs that the world is generally a good place, and that people are generally good, and that new environments are generally safe. And so we need them to have good, happy, safe experiences during socialization. Now, the second thing is that socialization really needs to be building your dog's confidence and optimism. So confidence, and optimism, just like they are in people, is a dog who is happy and secure going into any new environment and is generally going to assume that something new is a good thing. And this is really important because throughout your dog's socialization, you are never going to be able to expose them to every single environment, every single person, every single thing that they will come across throughout their service dog journey or throughout their career. So building your dog's confidence and optimism is what kind of bridges that gap, so that 3 years from now, when you thought your socialization was done, and your dog comes across something brand new, if you've installed confidence and optimism in them, then they will just assume that that new thing is good. And so that all, of course, goes back to building good experiences. We can't build confidence if the experiences are all scary. And we're going to talk about socialization a lot more in one of our next upcoming lives here in the next few weeks. But there's a third thing I wanted to hit today too. The missing thing I think I see the most when people socialize is that socialization is also about building focus. So your new puppy, if you have a puppy, but this is just as applicable to adult dogs, your puppy needs to be exposed to new environments, and they need to feel happy and confident and safe in all those new environments, but they also need to learn to focus on you in all of those new environments and around all of those things. So yes, we want our service dog puppies to be very social and to make new friends with people easily. but we also want them to focus on us around other people. So we see this problem a lot pop up with playing with other dogs. So we really want our service dogs to be social and happy and confident with other dogs. So yes, we let them play with other dogs. But if you don't balance that with teaching your puppy they have to focus on you around other dogs, then every time your dog sees another dog, they're just going to want to go play. So socialization needs to build confidence, it needs to have good experiences, and you need to be working on focus. So we have those three things with that. The next important thing to focus on in the beginning of your dog's service dog training is making sure that your dog really understands your training system. So you may have seen our session we did with Drake when we did his very first session ever and I talked about advanced beginnings. Your service dog has got to learn a lot of things, and so he really needs to understand the system that you're using to train. So with our service dogs, we spend a lot of time their first month teaching them how the clicker works and how to offer behaviors and how to shape. So shaping is something that you can Google. If you're gonna lure with a treat right in front of their nose and kind of lure them around, then your dog needs to understand what a lure is and how to follow it. So the first month of our dog's training isn't so much about what we teach, it's about how we teach it, so that our dogs are learning to be real experts in our training system. So they understand the clicker, they understand cues, they understand how to learn in the system that we use so that they can do it very quickly and very efficiently. And that is what makes training easier when we get to the advanced stuff. And then the third thing that you really need to focus on with a new service dog is your relationship with him. So your relationship with your dog is not something that you get to just check off the list and go, okay, I have a great relationship with my dog, I guess I'm done. That's just not really how it works. You need to spend time working on your relationship with your dog throughout his entire life, because it is the glue that is going to hold all of your training together. So service dogs have a very hard job. They have to go into every environment. They have to, do all of their behaviors, even when they're tired, even when they don't feel well, even when they're sick, even when they're distracted. And your relationship with your dog is what is going to get him up off the couch and doing his task at the end of a long day when he's tired and he would rather be sleeping. So your relationship is what glues all of the training you're going to spend the next 2 years doing. It's the glue that holds it together. So it would be really good if our glue was nice and strong. So we think about our relationship with our dogs like a bank account. So every time I put a deposit in, my bank account grows. Every time I take a withdrawal out, my bank account goes down. And with our dogs, we really want our bank account to be nice and high. And every time we have a good interaction with our dogs, we put a deposit in. Every time we have a bad interaction with our dogs, we take a deposit out. So anytime that I use punishment in my training, I take a deposit or I take a withdrawal out of my account. Anytime I step on my dog's foot, anytime I accidentally slam them in the door, anything like that, that all takes withdrawals out of your account. So even if you're using only positive reinforcement like we do, we're never going to get rid of all the negative experiences. If I'm brushing Drake and I hit a mat and I pull on his skin a little bit and it hurts, that could take a withdrawal out of our account, which means I constantly have to be putting new deposits in. Luckily, that's really easy to do, right? Every time you play with your dog, every time you pet him, every time you give him a treat, all those good experiences, all those good interactions, those put deposits into the account. So it's really easy to put deposits in, but you really want to watch the account and make sure you're not getting near zero. And then what's also really important to think about is that every interaction you have with your dog is teaching him something and affecting your relationship bank account. So even when you don't think you're training because you're not sitting there with treats and you're not officially teaching your dog something, you're still teaching your dog something because your dog is learning 24/7. So that means that training needs to happen 24/7. So if I take Drake out to go to the bathroom and I let him pull on his leash, even though we're not training, he's still learning. And so what he's learning in that moment is that he's allowed to pull on his leash. And then when I go into my training session later on and he thinks he's allowed to pull on the leash, I only have myself to blame because I allowed it to happen in that one moment, and so he's learned something. So learning happens all day, every day, regardless of what you think you're teaching. So you want to be aware of that, and you want to know that training happens 24/7. So pay attention to that and think about how that affects your bank account with your relationship. Because like I said, that relationship is the glue that holds everything together. So there is going to be an accompanying blog post to this live video. I just have to finish loading it, so that will go into the comments and into the description here after the video ends. And remember, so we've broken it down to these 3 things, right? Socialization, understanding of your training system, and then your relationship with the dog. So if I had to choose 3 things for you to work on for the first 30 days, those would be the 3 things. And that would be it. Because if you have those 3 things, then everything else is just going to be really easy. And when you get to the hard stuff, like 10-minute downstays and all the fancy task training and healing through a crowd, all that stuff will be really easy if you spent the first 3 days working on 30 days working on socialization, your dog's understanding of the training system, and your relationship with him. So let us know if you guys have any questions at all. Otherwise, check out the blog post, and that's where you can also find our service dog training pyramid, so that you can kind of see like the overview of everything that we teach our service dogs and the order in which we teach it. So watch for the next, for the videos coming out over the following month, because they're all going to have to do with getting started with a new service dog and, you know, basics and foundations and everything like that. And we're going to give you inside looks into how we're going to get started with these 3 new puppies. So you'll get to see that too. So have a great day.